taking you back to the 70s. Hence I had more hair. And look at this lovely brown top that I'm wearing. In fact, this was probably my brother's before it was mine. And then it was probably Andrew's before it was Dave's, before it became mine. In fact, if you look at some of the school photographs, you'll see the shirts where the edges, by the time I'm wearing them, are all frayed. Because it's the 1970s, we didn't have a lot of money, so we had to pass those shirts down. And if you have a look at these, don't mind me, flares. 70s, yeah, all right. Flares are fashionable for part of the 70s, but I'm wearing flares when they're not fashionable. They've gone out of fashion. But I don't know any better. I'm young. I'm innocent. I'm in Lapworth Road in Wood End. Now, if anybody lived in Lapworth Road in Wood End in the 1970s, know that it wasn't posh. So we were living in this house, 105 Lapworth Road, and I loved it there, my first 7 years in Lapworth Road, except when the kids would play rat-a-tat-ginger. Because in most houses, you know, if somebody knocks your door, you don't answer it. Not in our house. My mum, we had, just behind you, Simon, there's that black phone, and we had one of those in the window. Frosted glass, black phone. Except it wasn't connected because we hadn't got any money. And my mum would go, I'm going to call the police! The kids knew that the police wouldn't turn up. The police never turned up. So the next line of defence, if they weren't listening to my mum, me dad. He would run out with his plank of wood, with his false teeth almost coming out of his mouth. And the kids loved it. We didn't. We were embarrassed. But there would be Planky with his piece of wood chasing the kids down the street, and they loved it. So guess what? They didn't half knock our door a lot, and if they weren't knocking the door, they were throwing stones. And if they weren't throwing stones, they were wasting good eggs. Because I tell you what, in the 70s, you couldn't waste good eggs, but we get a good odd egg thrown at us. But that's where we started off. And I started going to Wood End Junior School, and in fact, I remember my brother had to take me to school because I couldn't go on my own because the girls were threatening to beat me up. So I had to have protection from my brother because it was a bit of a rough area. And in fact, it's one of those where you'd see quite often burnt out cars. If a car sat still long enough, the windows would be broken and it'd be burnt out. I remember playing in some burnt out cars, didn't set them on fire, not me, not near matches, not allowed. But would play out in the street. The furthest we'd be allowed to go is from Lapworth Road, we cross the bridge and then we go and play at the swings and the slide in Bell Green. Now my auntie Mary, now she's not really my auntie, but you know how you call people auntie and uncle. She lived in Hill Morton Road. Oh, and she'd make jam tarts, just like these jam tarts. I remember going to hers once and she said, help yourself to a jam tart, and so I did, and I got my duffel coat on. And I thought, she ain't looking. But I'm in my pocket, didn't half stick to the duffel coat, but that's the kind of thing I get up to.